Let's take a look at what a basic unit test looks like so we can start to get familiar with how it feels in code. Now, this isn't going to be the most sophisticated unit test out there, and in fact we don't really want to start with something that's so complex we just don't get it. So we'll start with just a simple example we can understand together and work with. So all tests start with something we need to test. We're writing a unit test, so we need a unit to be tested. You recall this unit in Java's object-oriented world is a class. Here's a simple class we can work with. This is our unit we'll be testing. This represents some code in our production system. True, for this example it's just pretty much a hello world type functionality we're testing, but it will do to explain how unit tests work. Looking at this class, it's clear to see that the functionality is that we invoke the method passing in a name, and we get returned a message which greets the person. So if we pass in Christopher, for example, we'd expect to get back the message, hello Christopher. Nice and simple. To see the production class being used, we can imagine that this code snippet is somewhere else in the application. This is our production code, our unit that we're testing, being used in real life as it were. Now that we've seen the code we're testing and seen how it's used, although it wouldn't have been difficult to imagine that of course, but it's good to be explicit though, let's see how we'd write a simple unit test for this. Let's see what it might look like. And, drumroll please, this is what a simple unit test might look like. What we have here is another class, the so-called test class, which houses all the methods which will test the unit under different conditions. These are called test methods. In this case we have just one test method in this test class, the test method called test_greet. This method is annotated with an add_test annotation from JUnit 4. JUnit provides this annotation so we can mark our method as a test method to be executed, since we can have other methods in a test class too, just like a regular class can. For example, methods to help out with the testing, or other specially annotated methods which hook into JUnit. Inside the test method, you'll see that it invokes the method being tested. This is our greet method from the greeter class. It then performs some checking afterwards to ensure that we got back what we expected from the call, given the input we specified. These are the methods on the assert class. This is another handy class from the JUnit framework which provides a set of assertions we can use. Assertions are statements we expect to be true. So here we're saying that we expect at least we get back a non-null result. That's the assert non-null method, called passing in the output from the tested method. And then we have another assertion afterwards, which is where we're saying we expect the result to be hello Christopher. The key part about assertions are that if they're not true, the test will fail with an assertion error. And at this point, when we see one of those assertion errors, we can go back and look at our test code, see which assertion failed, and start to investigate why that happened. We'll cover this later, but the main thing is that the assertion API offered by JUnit gives us a neat way to state what we expect to be true after our test has run. And if no errors are thrown, the test passes and our code is good to go.